anybody done feasibility studies on what it does for smaller towns? I mean, does it increase tourism, decrease?
Well, I mean, I believe it will definitely, it will be, it will be a service that certainly, again, I mentioned anyone here in Henry County, it would be a service for all of you because you have a very good, safe location to park your vehicle and go up to Chicago and back. But like I said, I mean, everyone knows Geneseo is a great place to live. I mean, that's kind of
Thank
a
you.
thing.
Thank you for that.
And I could easily foresee a young Gen E wanting to live here and commute to Chicago because maybe they're doing consulting or they're doing whatever. So there's all kinds of opportunities for that kind of thing. But I don't think there's any hard studies for this kind of this is a route. It's not as much of a commuter route like Aurora to Chicago. That's shorter, obviously, but this still has those longer range impacts. And I know the mayor of Moline, who's part of that new committee that was created. She knows of some individuals in Moline who have business in Chicago on a frequent basis, almost a weekly basis. And she thinks that this will be an opportunity to keep residents here in Illinois and in our communities.
So is Kewanee, I mean, they've got a train, Princeton's got a train.
Right.
Have they kept people
Well,
because of it?
this is
There's only once a day, once up,
right.
once back.
I think the frequency very much matters for commuting. When you're commuting and you're going for business, you want it 2 up and the other thing that's different about the route through Kewanee is that it's a long range Amtrak route. So it goes back through Burlington, Iowa, for instance, and it keeps going and it goes all the way, I believe, to Denver. So it's a whole different thing than something going from Quad Cities and to Chicago and back and forth twice a day in about 3 hours. 3 hours was the last timing I heard that it might be 3 hours and 15 minutes. And that's my understanding and that's what makes it commuter level, where a person says, okay, I would have had to jump in my car, but for 3 hours and not having to park in downtown Chicago, I'm going to get on the train, I'm going to bring my laptop and I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the difference.
Is there any, in part of that, is there talk about putting another track in like we used to have?
That I don't know. That would be part of the design issue. That I have no idea.
I can't see it all working with one set of tracks.
Well, I know they'll have to have sidings certain places so that the passenger
Can pass by.
will have to pull off.
Yeah.
But I don't know where those sidings have been, where they're planning on designing those sidings.
Sure.
So when you were on it in 1998, you said,
Mhm.
what was the ETA of having a train at that point in time if they would have approved it that year, the next year, whatever? Because that's like a
Yeah.
while back.
Right. It took remember the feasibility study didn't come out till 2009. It took that long to get the feasibility study from Amtrak so that we had numbers that we could advocate for and go to Washington and Springfield and Iowa. So that's how long it took. Then we got the money and we got some federal money, but and Illinois DOT began in earnest. Iowa said, let's wait and let's see when it gets to the Quad Cities, because until it gets to Quad Cities, it can't go to Iowa City. So, and Iowa DOT does have a passenger rail task force, and Bi-State is on it. So it still exists. It's still being discussed. But it took 10 years from that time to get that Amtrak feasibility study. Transportation takes a long time. I was working on the I-74 bridge project since 1994. That's when we called it when Illinois DOT first started talking about what alternatives should we look at for bridges in the Quad Cities. And I was the transportation director of Bi-State. And it took till 2021 for that to be implemented. So this kind of transportation takes a long time. But now we're seeing the finish line. That's because of the legislation that was passed by the Illinois legislature in the veto session. That gap financing was what was needed.
It's 17 years and you said it's at 30%. I don't see that being a finish line.
Well, they're going to, that's because they needed the money. Now they've got the money to do it. I forget what it is. I think there was a gap of almost over $400 million Illinois DOT identified. Now they have that money because it was approved by the legislature and they can begin in earnest for planning, but they want to make sure they have the 78 million extension from the Federal Railroad Administration too. But this is now, they now have the money they need to continue to proceed on this project.
Yeah, you can get all the funding to proceed, but that doesn't mean it's going anywhere. You know what I
Well,
mean? Yeah, I can get money from the government all day and, well, I'm proceeding. Well, how's it going? Well, we're proceeding.
No, there's, again, I mentioned there's a new task force. Mr. House is heading that up, the prior deputy of the Secretary of Illinois DOT. And actually, MetroLink, the new executive director of MetroLink, the transit system in the Quad Cities, where the station will be in Moline, has worked on passenger rail projects like this before. And they have now come together with Richard Brunt, the chair of Rock Island County, and Mayor Raya Putty, the mayor of the city of Moline. And there's a big, now that they've got the money, in fact, they were the ones who were advocating for that legislation back in the late fall. And they made that happen. And now they made that happen. And now they're going to make sure that people's feet are to the fire. They want to make sure it happens.
And what if the 78 million doesn't come through? It just stops?
No, it would, that is a smaller gap than the over 400 million they got from legislation. But it would be better that it did, and their indications are that it will.
Keith?
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to add is good job, Brandon and Denise.
Yeah.
And that I'm kind of maybe Rick, but I think I'm the only one standing from when this all went down. And I can still remember Teresa Savage, bless her heart, Mayor Eberhard.
Yes.
It kind of came in our lap pretty quick.
Yes.
And so as a city staff, and at that time we had kind of, not a lot of excessive staff people at that time, but the council, and we all discussed this and we
Mhm.
decided that it was best to move forward.
Mhm.
I guess to share a couple of things. After that, myself and Tracy Kotecki kind of became the Amtrak representatives, if you will, for the city. And so we ended up attending several meetings with IDOT, several meetings with Amtrak to just kind of get a sense of just kind of how Amtrak operates, but to also interact with other communities that have Amtrak service, but are also trying to get Amtrak
Yes.
service. And as part of that, I guess I would share these two things to just reinforce what Denise was saying. At that time, remote work really wasn't very common. That's kind of a COVID, post-COVID thing. And we would normally hop on the train at Princeton, quite honestly, and shoot into Chicago, go to a meeting, what have you, and did that several times. I met at least 5 people on those train trips that worked in Chicago and lived in Princeton. And at first I thought, why on earth would you do that? But they had shared the story that no, it's great. I go in 3 days a week and I get out and live in Princeton's house and it's all good. And they shared that they knew of at least a dozen other people that did a similar thing. I was taken aback by that. So I don't think it's going to double our population, but I think it is something to be aware of. That's kind of an intangible asset of having that. The other thing I would share too, and not to call out names or anything, but it really did seem to be moving at good speed, and everybody was working together. The funding was in place, and what have you. And in my opinion, it was shortly after Governor Rauner was elected, he pulled the state funding for it. So that was a 4-year hit the brakes. And then trying to get everything all restarted again has been a longer process. And this is from the guy that's been saying it's 3 years away. And I've said that 5 times every 3 years. But I would agree, though, that it is frustrating, Craig. I walk with you. I get it. But yeah, the game isn't over. We're in the late innings, and I think there's a great value to our community to stay with what that group in 2008 agreed to, and as part of our responsibility to our other community neighbors and stuff. This has been a group effort, And I think it's partly gotten to where it is because it's been a
Yes,
group effort.
yes.
And it's possible it may solve itself. You know, if the funding dries up and the plug gets pulled, well, then I guess our decision is made for us. But it's been really great, though, kind of hearing this recap, and it did kind of jog my memory on a lot of things. But I wanted to share just those 2 points.
Mhm.
One thing you said, it was, once again, we're back in the late innings. We're like in the third inning. That's what gets me. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have played sports at all,
Well,
but
You know,
30%
That's
is
a
not.
subjective debate. We could
I
argue
get it.
that the rest
But
of
the
the
other
night.
part about it is, what was I going to say? And I just lost my train of thought.
I
Yep.
think the important thing to remember is we're not out anything other than there's some land that we bought. And so
Correct.
the only question is there a time where we say it's not going to happen? We ought to think about selling it. Otherwise, it's not like we are, I mean, what difference does it make? Like,
Because
if it
we could
takes
put
10
something else
years-
in that space.
well,
We could utilize
so the
that
question
space.
is at what point do we say it's not going to happen and we're going to sell the
Okay,
land?
but we don't know because it could be,
So
it dried up once. How do you know it's not going to dry up again? How do you know it's going to pull the funding again? We're going to start over.
So the question
Hey,
is,
hey,
I was actually talking, he
but I'm
interrupted
going to
me.
help. I'm going to help. Okay.
Okay.
This good point.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
point. That's a debate we can have at a
Yeah.
different time. The purpose of Denise being here was to bring us up to speed, which
Right.
I believe she has done so, but there is a time to field questions to her and not debate amongst ourselves.
And as I look at my question is there a point, and I agree with what you're saying, Craig, is there a point that you think that if something were to happen, we just know this project's dead?
Well,
And that was gonna be my
would
question.
like,
Thank you, Sean.
I would depend on Mr. House and the Illinois DOT because that they are planning on reporting to you.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, and they'll tell you a timeline. And and I think they're going to be very clear if something egregious happens that we don't anticipate, but that's not where everyone's heads are right now because of that legislation that was passed and the work that's being done on the gap that they believe is definitely going to happen. And so they'll be able to report to you, and it would be if something after they report to you or something later happens that changes things significantly, then I would hope that they'd be upfront with all the communities. If you think about it, Moline already built their station.
Right.
So Moline already built their station. So everyone is working really hard toward getting this and believe, again, it's not if, it's when, and when is coming, that there's a light at the end of the train tunnel.
So and I would just remind the council that there will be opportunities to meet with Mr. House and who's the
Yes.
other gentleman, Brandon? Help me, I'm forgetting his name.
Ben Limmer,
Yeah,
the
Ben.
new executive director
So-
of Metrolink.
That would be a good opportunity also
Yes.
to ask
Yep.
some of these
Yes.
definitive questions,
Yes.
to let them know that, we're a hungry community for answers.
Mhm.
Our community's answer. And this is helpful because I think what so much of the council gets is a lot of questions from the community.
Mhm.
And I'll admit it, I didn't even realize the amount of resolutions that have been passed, modifications, comprehensive plans, and those are answers that I want to be able to give back when asked. So that's been helpful for that. But I would encourage the council to partake in those meetings when they're scheduled to. So, anyone else? Thank you, Denise.
You're welcome.
Yep. Okay, 8.2 under administration would be the Wind Tower #1 update, discussion, planning.
I'm just going to give you a quick update on where we are at with wind turbine 1 and what are we considering when we're looking at if we were to replace this generator. So wind turbine 1 is 17 years old. Life expectancy 20 years. If we want to try to extend that from 20 to 25, even possibly 30 years, there's a lot of things that we need to look at. We need to look at the structural concerns. Is the foundation look good? Does the tower look good? Blades, generator, clearly the generator is out. Main bearing, pitch system, yaw system, electrical system, braking system, you name it. It's always going to be a concern being 17 years old. And there's a few of these items that would need to be addressed now while we're changing out the generator. The first one is the pitch system. So if you remember back in 2017, we had a blade bearing failure. This is the blade bearing that is being changed out right now. Those are the most stressed part of the wind turbine. Those are the ones that are constantly moving. The electric motors that power the belts, the pulleys that are in there, all need to be looked at to be able to extend the life of the wind turbine. I don't know where my mouse went. The other systems that we are concerned with is the yaw system. The yaw system is what turns the nacelle around. There is 3 yaw motors up there. It drives a giant gear that goes back and forth. So you got to make sure that there's not a lot of play in those gears and that it holds it tight. The other thing is the braking system on the yaw deck. Those brakes will need to be replaced. They're pads that go in there. That's what actually holds that wind turbine in place so that it doesn't move and doesn't lose tracking of the wind. So those will have to be replaced. The other thing is the electric motor wear, constantly moving while the wind's going is a concern. The electrical system. So this is a picture of the converter system that is down in the basement of the wind turbine. We have aging transformers, converters, IGBT diodes, capacitors, the cabling that goes through there. We are also running into difficulty sourcing replacement parts. Ventus still makes this model, but it is a newer model. It is not the same exact model that we currently have. So the longer that we go with the wind turbine, the more we're going to have troubles sourcing some of those parts, even fans. Because everything that comes from Europe all has to be UL approved to come in and be put onto our system. So we need to watch that. And this is the stuff that we're talking to Ventus about on their supply chain and everything else that's going on. Also with just the overall maintenance of the wind turbine, with the newer models coming out, there's less technicians that know the older models. So we're going to start losing that knowledge also. The big thing is the financial considerations. So how much remaining life do we have on the wind turbines that we need to come up with? What are the costs of upcoming major repairs? Because you could change a generator today and have blade failure tomorrow. It's $30,000, $40,000 to move a crane just to mobilize. The annual energy production for the wind turbine is 3 million kilowatts, roughly. That is an average. The annual revenue from that being sold directly to our customers at 12 cents a kilowatt is $420,000. To replace that energy that we would normally produce, we're looking at an increase of $150,000 purchasing that from MISO. Granted, we do sell that back, but that is money that we were not anticipating. We do have one last bond payment in 27 of $446,000. But with wind turbine 2 still producing, that will be able to cover that. You guys can ask questions if you have any.
So obviously, you say 20 years life expectancy. So wind turbine 2 is ending its career soon.
Yeah,
the next few
so
years.
in January, I was talking with a consultant about knowing that we were getting towards the end of life, that we needed to look at repowering, decommissioning, or extending it, and looking at trying to get a consultant to kind of look at it from outside and be like, all right, here's what our options are. Well, this is the best play. I do have a meeting with them tomorrow to kind of talk over some of this.
So if we decommission, would it be financially feasible? What would it be like financially if we just replace them with a solar field, put the rest, more solar panels in?
The problem with adding 3 megawatts of solar. We currently have 1 megawatt of solar, and it sits on 5 acres. You would have to cover every inch of that ground to be able to come up with that. And it's not flat, it is rolling. In the winter time when the sun sits low, you're not going to get the energy production normal. Now, could you put more solar up there? Absolutely. There's room for it. The infrastructure's there. You could do it. Go
Have
for
we
it.
considered doing that?
We have looked at it before, but when the wind turbines are up and when we were producing, we were pushing everything back. Now, if the wind turbines aren't there and we don't have all that energy production, it would be a better spot.
But
It
the
could be an
biggest
option.
thing is that we have a dead duck sitting there. And do you revive the dead duck or you just put them to rest?
That is
Okay,
the
but-
ultimate
But
question.
you're telling me that $420,000 is what that generates.
Yes.
Okay, and we could buy the same amount of electricity that it generates from MISO for $150,000.
Per year. And you also have to realize that price is always going to go up. So
Yeah, no kidding.
when you're looking at $420,000, that energy is produced locally. There's no fuel that is being burnt, and we're not paying transmission. So there is a benefit to it.
Well, there's a benefit there, but in the long run, is the benefit back to us? I mean, if we fix the one we have right now, what is the cost to fix what we have now?
That's the next slide.
Hold on, shut up.
Go ahead.
All of your questions?
Is this something that those people that you hired are doing for the power plant and all that? Is this part of that?
The wind turbines were in that planning study. We are currently moving forward with, since we didn't think we were going to have generator failure in April, that this is being pushed up.
Okay, but will they determine what the long-term,
They won't determine the long-term of the asset itself.
but they can determine what the long-term effects, plus
Yeah.
and minus, either to replace it,
Yeah.
fix it, whatever,
Potentially, yes.
potentially?
Well,
It's like fixing an old house.
yeah. So
Fix one thing and something else is gonna go.
the planning study is
Like your
more
positive
focused on the power plant and the distribution system and the way that we purchase power from MISO. The solar array and the wind turbines are in it, but not the major part of it. They're not taking the asset and looking at it and seeing how long it's going to last.
Eric, if I'm wrong, just please correct me. I thought the whole idea behind getting the solar, the whole idea by having the wind turbines is that we're not so much reliant on MISO.
Right, absolutely.
Because they will dictate what they want to charge, just like Mid-American Energy. People talk about how much they pay in living in the cities to Mid-American, and Mid-American can do anything they want to them. So that's why one reason I was always behind the alternative generation, if you will.
Right.
And I'm still behind it, but I get this feeling that you really want to dump that.
No, I am not. I am only showing you what the concerns are.
Yeah.
Because if we change a generator today and there's bearing failure tomorrow or another major replacement that we need to do, then we had wasted that time without going and looking at all these components to make sure that we are making the right decision.
Martin, one other thing is there's other ways to strengthen our position with regards to what we can do and how it affects what we buy from the market, correct, Eric?
Right.
If we were to make other expansions at the plant or updates or changes, you could get to where we kind of were now, correct?
Yes.
Just in a different manner. So we're not locked to only using a renewable to get that type of benefit.
And with the wind turbines, like just take today. When I came in here, energy was $500 a megawatt. There's no wind. They are not benefiting from just sitting there. What is benefiting us is the power plant that actually has generators running that Our cost with higher diesel prices and natural gas is between $140 and $160 a megawatt. That's us not paying it for $800, $500 a megawatt. That's what we're focused on. Now, if we could, have a mixture of everything, because that's what makes everything great, is you have a little bit of wind, you have a little bit of solar, but you also have your reliable generation that's sitting behind you. And that's what MISO sees when they look at capacity, is what can you turn on and how fast can you get it on? They don't look at wind turbines that way.
When did you put the new generator on? Was that 2?
So this is so wind turbine 2's had 2 generators on it. This one has had 1 generator replacement. This one was done in 2013 or 14. And that one did not fail. That one, Vensis changed out and did not cost the city anything.
So when you say decommission, like I remember, like when we do we negotiate? Do they give it? Do we have to pay for the whole thing to pull
I
it
got
down?
another slide after this.
Oh, that's coming. Because
Eric
I
really needs
know
to get to some more slides.
Paula wants to know. Okay.
No, I would rather have questions, and then I'm
That's
just not
okay.
staying up here talking. So we do have an estimated cost of $955,161,000. This quote is from West Engineering and Vensis USA. West Engineering is a consultant for Vensis. They're the ones that are changing out generators for them. We are waiting on an updated quote for the generator and the blade bearings. One of the biggest problems they're having right now is getting generators into the United States and getting them past customs and not having them flagged, because my understanding is that if they come from Germany or they come from China, they have to have a log of basically where all those materials came from, all the way down to the minerals that were mined. And any of that could be flagged. The other thing that is hurting us is tariff cost and just transmission alone. Transporting it from, overseas, putting it in the harbor, getting it on another semi and bringing it here.
Well, Eric, today on the news, they talked about how the state of Illinois wants to build more generation in Illinois of the nuclear power, and they're talking about there's two plants out in Cordova. They're talking about making 3. If they open up a 3rd plant, is that going to do anything to the market? I mean, is the market going to drop a little bit, that we would think that MISO would be the way to go instead of redoing it?
Well, Cordova is actually fed into the PJM market, which PJM is basically where the Cordova plant is. The Mississippi River goes all the way over to Pennsylvania. That is a completely different transmission group than that what we're actually part of. I'll continue on here. So we did make an insurance claim to Chubb Insurance. They have honored that claim. We did get $855,161,000 from them. We have a $100,000 deductible on that. So we are currently sitting on that. We are also waiting on business interruption and extra expense claim. That's another $50,000. That is our lost revenue for not being able to generate for it. We do have 8 to 10 month delivery time of the generator, and that is moving quite a bit on whether it's 8 to 10 months to port or 8 to 10 months on site. There is a 3-year warranty from the time of delivery, just on the generator.
So we could replace it for theoretically $50,000.
No.
Well, no.
Yeah, but if we were going to do that, we also have to look at the blade bearings.
A lot of other parts.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's other parts in it. on it that we would want to. That's why I'd like to have the blade bearing quote, because the rotor's already going to be on the ground. You can take the blades off and replace it and put it up. It is another like a day and a half more of crane time than trying to bring it back in at a later date. Turbine decommissioning. So I did reach out to a company, an Illinois company that does decommissioning of wind turbines and recycles, the turbine, the generator, everything that can be recycled. What this quote is for is felling the tower. Basically, they fell it like a tree. They cut it and it goes down. It is not a deassemble it, put it on the ground, put it on the truck. This is, you cut it, you let it fall. They cut it up on the ground, they load it up on the truck. They would take care of all the cleanup, take care of all the blades. The only thing that would be left is the foundation and the bed that is currently there. This does not include removal of the foundation.
And how deep is that foundation?
That foundation is 40 feet deep, I think.
Even when they remove them in the field, they usually only take them like 5 or 6 feet.
Yeah.
That's the lease agreements typically on wind farms.
No, I don't have a 0.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm sorry.
That'd be a deal.
No. So
Have you done the
yeah, the scope of work would take about 14 days. They would handle all the processing logistics of moving all this stuff and getting it out. We would be required to drain all the fluids from the nacelle and up tower components. We would also be required to hang the securing cables for it. It is $214,000.
So basically, we're in for that at one point or another,
Well,
and that's gonna get higher.
yeah, I mean,
Each one of them.
each one of them.
So probably.
And this would definitely be the cheapest option, is that you would let it fall onto the ground and cut it up. If we were going in there and you take the rotors off and the blades off and the nacelle and the tower, I mean, that just increased the crane time that you have on site.
So we could use the 100,000 towards that. We don't have to use the 100,000.
Not 100,000, it's 800.
800.
855.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have, okay, so you got that claim, do we have to use it for a new one?
That is what I am going to find out.
So we couldn't really use the money to do that.
I cannot say at this time whether or not we could do that.
Right.
Look at, he doesn't want to commit right
You had the refurbishment quote. So there's 3 options.
Would be a repower. We do not have a repower one. These are probably going to be the ones that we're going to look at. If we're going to be repowering, we're talking millions. Where we're dropping off of not having bond payment and looking towards the future of making sure that the base of the electric department is set, is we have aging infrastructure. I mean, our substations from 1970, we have engines from 1956, we have old switchgear. Those things need to be addressed sooner than later. Now, do they run? Does it work? Absolutely. But the further we wait, the more that we're going to be hit with a much larger bill than taking it. It's part of the planning study, is looking at, where's the best thing that we need to focus on. But we have an idea of what needs to be addressed. And especially if there is expansion in the city, Stewart Street substation is undersized currently. On the hottest day of the year, that substation would not cover all the load in town. We would actually have to generate with that substation on. So it's one of those things that we have to kind of watch.
Prioritize. Yeah.
The bottom line is no matter what you have to pay to fix it sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of want to just talk to you now just about this. When we come back to council, we'll probably go in depth a lot more on all the options and put numbers out there that go out to that 25-year mark and see where those revenues are, how much energy that actually produces, how much energy we would be purchasing from MISO. This roughly does produce 5 to 6% of our energy needs, just this one turbine.
I think it'd be really interesting to know that, and I totally agree with what you're saying. It's like you take your car into whatever, if you're going to pull everything off, you might as well replace some bearings and everything else. So it'd be really interesting to know, like, so if it's $100,000 right now to fix it, what, how much would it be extra to say, let's also do the bearings and try to really hit all the big things that make sense while it's apart.
Yep.
Because to me, that's the real question is, it's not spending 100,000. Is it worth spending 300,000?
Yep,
I'm making up a number.
absolutely. And that's what we're going to be, is what it's going to end up being, because a blade bearing is between $30,000 and $40,000.
Yeah.
That is just to purchase it. That is not to get it from Germany to here.
I was going to ask is what are all the wind turbines to the south? Because you mentioned about this as getting an older model, I would imagine, and I know it's not possible to say we're going to switch, but it'd be nice to use something that's local so that you have a lot of people around who are used to.
Yeah.
Or would that make any difference?
So Vensis is part of Goldwind Energy. Goldwind is a Chinese company and Vensis is a German company. It's the same make and model. Basically, it's the same technology. Vensis is merging more and more with Goldwind. And when we were having a conversation with Vensis, he said that their priority used to be, 10 turbines or less, and they would supply parts and do all this kind of stuff. Their goals have changed. Their priorities have changed where they're going towards more large wind farms, to where the smaller guys like us are going to be hurting to get their attention and get parts and get the stuff that we need.
Will only that one fit what we have, or are there other manufacturers that would be able to know? Not at all.
Yeah, no. So that's the problem we run into when you want, let's say that a fan goes out. You just can't go to Granger and find a fan for it because it's specially made normally for this converter, or it's European and we have to order it from them.
Is there an American manufacturer of turbines?
Great question. I do not know.
The other thing is these are direct drive. These aren't with gearboxes with 800 gallons of oil. These are direct drive. There is some fluid there, but it's not like the ones you see when you see all the oil running down the sides of them other ones.
Right.
That's not what we have.
Yeah, I mean, ours is a little unique. The closest type that are very similar to ours is in Ohio, Illinois. There is a wind farm out there of 1.5 Goldwind models, basically the same ones. I'm done.
The answer on the American question is yes, it's GE Vernova.
There you go.
Okay, moving on. Next under administration would be 8.3 would be the facade grant application for 113 North State Street, Cash Boutique.
It's a facade grant application from Catch. They, as you can see in some of the images that Jamie has up, they are going to be replacing their awning and doing some painting to the front of the building that is needed. Our analysis does put it in compliance with the downtown TIF facade program. We have, I have to go back out to the agenda. Half of the approved cost would be $5,468.88 if they follow through with all of their estimates.
Motion to recommend approval of the facade grant application for 113 North State Street for up to $54,6888 and 50/50 matching funds to the city council meeting and to place on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Arnold, second by James. Roll call.
Rothschild,
Yes.
Kennett,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Samowski,
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 9 would be the payment of city and utility bills.
Motion,
I don't have anything. Jamie answered. I had 2 questions, but she answered it before.
Oh, perfect.
motion to pay the bills as presented?
Motion by Arnold,
Second.
second by Swanson. Roll call.
Arnold,
Yep.
Samowski,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Kennett,
Yes.
Rothschild.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 10 would be public comments for all their items. City ordinance allows members of the public to speak and give input up to 3 minutes. Please note, this is a time for the council to listen to feedback and not an interactive question or answer session with the council or staff. Yes, sir. Wyatt, come on
So I know most of you, and I just want to start by saying thank you.
up.
My name's Wyatt Breezer. I'm the CEO at Hammond Area Hospital. I know most of you. I want to thank you first for everything that you do. I know you guys have a hard job, and knowing a lot of you personally, I know you guys are working hard for us. What I am here to talk to you about today is we have our 125th anniversary, really looking at what our future looks like and hoping to see another 125 years. With that being said, we are going to go into our strategic planning meetings in the fall here in October. And in doing that, knowing that all of you have good feelers in your community, just want to make sure that I was inviting each of you to have a place at that table and to help us to make sure that Hammond Area Hospital can remain a viable space for you guys to receive your health and wellness care. And so this is just a formal invite saying that I hope that you guys will help me to do a good job for you. And please bring forth any thoughts or opinions that you may have from your individual spaces.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
More public comment? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Colleen Reese, and I'm here to talk about flock cameras. For those maybe not familiar, these cameras are set up along our roadways. I think there are 4 here in Geneseo that capture an image of every car that goes past, identifies that car using license plate, but also other features such as make, model, color, bumper stickers, and other identifying attributes, and then stores that data in a networked and searchable database for at least 30 days. Flock Safety, the company who makes this equipment, now have over 110,000 of these cameras installed nationwide. I would like to make clear that I'm not accusing or suggesting anything has been done incorrectly in Geneseo. This is about the technology itself, not about those who are using it locally. Abuse of this system has happened in places around the country, but there have been many cases of abuse, and I would like to summarize a couple. Daytona, Ohio. In May 2026, an audit revealed that data from Dayton's cameras had been searched more than 7,100 times for immigration enforcement purposes. Search is explicitly prohibited under the city's own policy, which barred using flock data for immigration enforcement or sharing with agencies whose primary purpose was enforcing immigration law. City officials called the violations egregious. Unable to immediately remove the cameras due to contract complications, they covered all 72 with trash bags. Illinois 2025, a state audit triggered after Texas police used Illinois flock data to track a woman who had received an abortion in Illinois, found that flock had allowed U.S. Customs and Border Protection to access Illinois cameras through an undisclosed pilot program. Flock stated its own leadership was unaware of the program. The audit found 47 agencies had to be removed from access. Illinois law explicitly prohibits sharing plate data for immigration or abortion-related investigations. Evanston, Illinois terminated its contract and deactivated 19 cameras. However, when they asked Flock to remove its cameras, the city later discovered that only some cameras had been taken down and that Flock had reinstalled others without the city's permission, leaving them actively collecting data. Evanston sent a cease and desist. The cameras were not fully removed until 2026. There are many more stories like this surrounding the Flock surveillance. It does clearly state in the contract that Flock does not own and shall not sell customer data. However, the ACLU recently reported that current contracts signed in early 2026 have removed that line. I don't have a copy of any current contracts, but this is troubling. Contracts clearly state that Flock may access, use, preserve, or disclose the footage to law enforcement authorities, government officials, and/or third parties, if legally required to do so, or if Flock has good faith belief that such access, use, preservation, or disclosure is reasonably necessary to comply with the legal process, enforce this agreement, or detect, prevent, or
3
otherwise.
minutes is up.
Okay,
Yep.
I will just go to the last sentence. I just think that people need to think about this. And of course, with data and AI, there's good things about it and there are negative things about it. And anyway, I'm
Thank
Colleen
you.
Reese. If you want any more information, I'd be happy to share it. I don't, but I'm just.
Okay.
Who am I giving it to? There you go.
Any more public comment? Pastor Steve? No? Ann? Ma'am, do you have anything? No? Okay. Without any other public comment, a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Arnold.
Second.
Oh, no,
Brandon's got that on the next meeting. Second by Chavez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
Well, we have a special session now.
We have special executive sessions during special.
We'll call to order the special city council meeting for Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. It's now 7:10 PM. Page roll call.
Rothschild,
Here.
Kennett,
Here.
Swanson,
Here.
Barnhart,
Here.
Chavez,
Here.
James,
Here.
Samowski,
Here.
Arnold.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Item number 2 would be public comment related to agenda items only. City ordinance allows members of the public to speak and give input up to 3 minutes. Please note this is a time for the council to listen to feedback and not an interactive questioner and answer session with council or staff. Any members of our public? No? Okay. Oh, Pastor Steve, I'm sorry.
No, the only, I'm interested to hear the discussion that follows, and the only thought that I would have is, I do think there's a delicate balance, because when you're wanting to sleep, having all of these loud noises is a challenge. On the other hand, having once worked with bricklayers as their masons tender, we did roof work, and when it was going to be 90 degrees out, getting off to an early launch made a lot of difference. How you balance that calculus, I don't know, but I just wanted to share that I think it's important that we look at both sides of that equation.
Thank you. Okay, item number 3 under administration, 3.1 would be O-26-13, an amendment to the ordinance section 26-22, loud and unnecessary noise.
So we took the direction from the last meeting, came back with the language that you found in your packet, which is an exception for construction noise in residential zones beginning at 6 a.m. For the months of June 1st through September 30th.
I'll say, I've been thinking a lot about this. I struggle, I totally get the need for it when it's hot. But it could be 70 degrees out and we're saying, well, because it could be hot, you can start, I feel like there should be some temperature barrier if the temperatures. And I, again, honestly would like to see it only weekdays, not weekends. This is my opinion. Again, September, a lot of times it's very pleasant out. So why start super early if it's only going to be 75 degrees that day?
As far as the weekends, I don't think you can limit that, because if they get your roof off and it's about to rain, they want to.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, there are
There's
times where there's a
times
necessity out of construction outside of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, to complete
Yeah.
essential work. I mean, I understand there's a reluctance to like have it be just wide open. But I think the discussion internally has been, how do you, the risk of putting controls in is then it gets delicate as far as the enforcement and what's the trigger. If we put in there a temperature and you have a weather app that says 90 degrees and the complainant has one that says 89 degrees, that's what we're trying to avoid. So I don't know how to walk that. Maybe our legal counsel has a better opinion on that.
You can specify who the source of the information is that you rely upon, whether it's heat index or whatever, NOAA, something like that, but yeah, otherwise you'd have to specify it in the ordinance.
And we do have that, by the way, in the pets, that you say if the pet is in a vehicle over a certain 75 degrees, that it's now considered, I mean, we already have a temperature thing. I guess my concern is, I feel it's really different if someone's putting a roof on a house versus a 4-month project where they're working every day of the week and it's 6 to 6 every day of the week because they're building a house or an apartment building or something right next door to you.
Well, but they could honestly, right now under the ordinance, work 7 in the morning till 10 at night. There's nothing we could do about it.
Sure. So,
So,
yeah, I'm just saying, to me, it's
and actually, that was a conversation one contractor had with me. I'll bring the guys back at 7 o'clock at night when the sun sets, and we'll roof till 9:59. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
We're gonna equally create a problem.
it's just my opinion. So
Yeah.
I'm not
I'm
saying
just-
that. I totally agree with what you're saying. And yeah, it's just a thought
I'm
that
just trying to
I-
find the most
absolutely.
middle ground scenario is what we're trying to do here,
So we're going from 7 to 10 to 6 to 10? Is that what you're saying?
potentially.
And I don't know why you couldn't do it on the
Potentially.
weekends. If they're doing a roof or something if they should know it's not going to get done, don't start it.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
I
well-
think,
Yeah, no.
go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
I went out there the other day to see, and I talked to Jeremy, and the complainant lives quite a ways away, and this was past and their shingles weren't even being put on.
So the unfortunate situation that we're currently dealing with is the fact that what's occurring has been probably occurring for 20, 30, 40 years, and it's never been an issue. But we're dealing with a situation where it's an issue with a very, very select, small portion of our population. And knowing the facts that I know them, I think if they were to begin work at 6:59, there'd probably still be a complaint. So I'm not saying their complaints aren't warranted by no means, because that's definitely out of the scope of the ordinance. I'm saying I don't know that there's being reasonable discretion applied all the way around to the situation. Now we're stuck with trying to come up with the best remedy that we can.
Also, the city can do it because I have dump trucks sitting outside my house 5 o'clock in the morning.
I don't think they should be able to. City has to abide by our ordinances.
But I sure,
We're written in there, we're exempt.
but
Oh,
I,
well, in that case,
but I survived and it didn't,
again,
it's
I was trying to.
it's
I'm
seasonal. I
sorry.
mean, that's just the way it is. I'm not in favor of doing anything with it.
I just hate to change our ordinance because one person complained, but I was imagining if I was someplace and all of a sudden it's every day of the week, all summer long, and I can't ever get any sleep because at 6 a.m. there's jackhammers right outside of my window, I would get really irritated. To me, it's very different than someone's roofing. Everybody hopefully has grace if someone's roofing and we know, but I could also see 6 to 10 every day. You could have people jackhammers right outside your door and you almost can't be in your house because it's so loud. And I'm thinking of the extreme case, but that's kind of what we got to protect against is the extreme case. But again, it's totally just my opinion. And I'm not trying to sway anything. It's just my
Mine
opinion.
too, but I don't like to hear the train siren at 3 o'clock in the morning either, but I get used to it.
Be interesting to know, like the people that do complain, say they want their house roofed and the company shows up on a Saturday morning at 6 o'clock and starts roofing. You hired them to do this job and now they're beating on your roof. You want them to do it, so here they are. It just.
Not to be there very long.
Exactly. I agree with Bob. I understand what you're saying, Brett. We got to come to some, like Mayor said, some middle ground here somewhere.
And I understand the complainants. I mean, they have every right to do it, but I just don't see where it's that we need to make an ordinance for it.
So would our motion, and even if we deny it or decline it, or just clean the motion, take the motion away?
You can just stop hold first.
Or could it be?
So, yeah, I'm trying to understand exactly what no.
No. So if we don't approve it, we just let it drop and don't move on? I don't know what the legalities are here.
If there's no motion, there's no action to take.
Okay.
You need a motion and a second. You want to do a straw poll.
So you want the staff not to revisit it, or we're just dead on the water here?
Or
So
would that,
we want the ordinance officer to begin issuing tickets tomorrow, I guess, I mean, I'm not trying to sway anybody, but I'm making sure we're clear with.
would additional review or we table it to the next meeting be of any help? Because I guess jumping on what Bob's saying a little bit, but I also don't want to necessarily cure a problem that isn't necessarily one if it's just a very, very, very few people and if it hasn't come up much. But I will defer to your judgment on just how much complaining you're hearing about it.
Rick, help me out here because you've been deep in the weeds on this. The reason this is brought forward, and Kelly can chirp into from the lawn PD side, this is something we're dealing with on an almost daily basis.
Okay.
So we were trying to resolve, if that's fair to say, Rick? The PD, but the complaints have been going to the PD, correct? And then you've been going out to speak, you've had engagements, I know, with the contractor?
Yes.
With the contractor, correct? So. that's why-
Okay,
that's
so
why-
it's
Yeah.
on the radar screen.
That's
To
why,
put
that's
it
why it was brought
nicely.
forward,
For
not
sure.
as a convenience, but as bringing it forward to the elected officials about all the areas of the community, what we've been dealing with, asking for guidance from them if there was a way to help resolve the situation.
And again, it's just my opinion, but honestly, folks, I hope we're enforcing our ordinances. If we're like, hey, we're just going to ignore it and we don't pass this, so now we're going to start enforcing it. We've got to start enforcing our
No,
ordinances.
I don't think that's necessarily the point.
But-
It's not that,
If our ordinance says something, we should follow it, right?
right. But the other side of that is local contractors have also expressed the reality of working in 125-degree heat during the summer months, and local business people have asked for an appeal on a means to work through this.
Absolutely.
So that's why one of the original paths taken was to try to tie it to a building permit. Could be the reasonable discretion could be exercised by the building inspector when a permit's issued for those types of settings. So, I mean, we've come up with every option we can.
And again, I just to say, I don't mean to sway everybody to say, don't vote for it. I'm just saying my own personal view. I guess what I'm reacting to is you said, should we tell people to actually start enforcing it tomorrow and give tickets? We should be doing that. Yes.
Well,
That's-
but
it's our
here's the
ordinance.
problem. Here's the reality. You live in a black and white world where it's that simple. What happens is you show up, Kelly, help me out here. You show up, you have a
I'm saying,
complaint.
you made the
that wants-
statement, should we actually start enforcing it
Right,
tomorrow?
but you show up, you have a complainant that wants to file a complaint, they want to call in the law enforcement, they want to call in the building inspector, they want to call in city hall.
Sure.
And then when push comes to shove, well, I don't want my name on that.
Sure. No, I
So
totally
that-
get it.
Every
I
day
totally
we
get
go
it.
out there with these types of situations, when you don't have a complainant that wants to truly follow through with something, but yet we're just dealing with this situation.
So you talked to the contractors and the contractors suggested an hour earlier, and that would
Most-
solve the issue.
That seems to be the Hazelwood Homes.
They're not going to come out at 5 in the morning and start
Hazelwood
going
Homes
then.
consistently starts at 6 a.m. all summer long.
And generally, when they start at 6, they're not working at 10 o'clock. They're starting at 6 because they want to be done at 2, right, when it gets to 100 degrees outside. So it's
We could-
not-
We could try it.
Trying to get an extra hour. a day.
Doesn't matter to me. There's no motion, so,
Motion to approve 02613.
what'd you say?
I'll second. I think we should vote on it.
All right, motion by Arnold, second by Barnhart.
But this is this, we're doing this on a trial? We're going to revisit this possibly, or this is it?
The council can revisit
Yeah,
at any
you can
time.
make any recommendation you want. Okay, motion by Arnold, second by Barnhart, roll call.
Rothschild,
Yes.
Kennett,
Yes.
Swanson,
Yes.
Barnhart,
No.
Chavez,
Yes.
James,
Let me be clear. What are we actually? Okay.
Yes.
Samowski,
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 4 on the agenda would be a move into executive session for 5 ILCS 120/2C11.
Motion to move into executive session for 5 ILCS 120-2. C11.
Motion by Arnold,
Second.
Second by Rothschild.
Whatever. Sure.
Okay. Roll call?
Arnold?
Here,
Yes.
you said roll
or no?
call.
Or I'm sorry. Yeah, roll call.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
here.
Yes. Yeah,
It's a motion, like we motion.
for the motion.
Oh, yes.
Samowski?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Chavez?
Yes.
Barnhart?
Yes.
Swanson?
Yes.
Kennett?
Yes.
Rothschild?
Yes.
Okay, you want to stay here?
Sure.
See, that's how we should do it. It's okay to have one person go down. It's okay.